Ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead discovered at Saqqara, what hidden secrets it reveals. For the first time in 100 years, a complete papyrus from the Book of the Dead has been discovered in Saqqara. Archaeologists in Egypt have discovered a 16-meter-long papyrus containing sections of the Book of the Dead. The over 2,000-year-old document was found in a coffin in a tomb south of the Step Pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. The Book of the Dead, which contains macabre secrets, was only discovered in 2020. A manuscript, preserved in one of the 60 sarcophagi discovered 3 years ago in the Saqqara necropolis, south of Cairo, Egypt, corresponds to one of the oldest texts Egyptian funerals, namely the Book of the Dead. So it was a fabulous find in Egypt. The Book of the Dead has been unearthed and it contains spells practiced by ancient wizards. It also contains macabre secrets dating back 2,500 years. In addition, the work also contains praises brought to the divinities of that time, songs, as well as prayers. Personal belongings of the deceased, as well as food, jewelry, and everything he loved in his life on earth were buried with him. Thus, the deceased could face the obstacles in the journey he was going to make to the other world. There are many texts from the Book of the Dead, and analysis of the new discovery may shed light on ancient Egyptian funerary traditions. Conservation work has already been completed and the papyrus is being translated into Arabic, according to a statement released in conjunction with an event marking Egyptian Archaeologists' Day on January 14th. So, this is the first complete papyrus discovered at Saqqara in more than 100 years, said Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, according to the statement. The Book of the Dead papyrus, discovered in Saqqara. For reference, the Step Pyramid of Djoser was built during the reign of Pharaoh Djoser, who ruled around 2630 BC to 2611 BC, and was the first pyramid built by the Egyptians. The area around the Step Pyramid has been used for burials for millennia. Indeed, the coffin that housed the newly found papyrus dates to the late period, around 712 BC to 332 BC, Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former antiquities minister, said in an email for Live Science. Information about who owned the papyrus and its exact date will be announced soon, Hawass said. The Book of the Dead is a modern name given to a series of texts that the Egyptians believed would help the dead navigate the afterlife. They were widely used during the New Kingdom, around 1550 BC to 1070 BC. While 16 meters is long, there are other examples of Book of Death papyri of this length or even longer. There are many manuscripts that would have been similar in length, but papyrus manuscripts of ancient Egyptian religious texts can vary quite dramatically in length, said Foy Skelf, head of research archives at the University of Chicago. Skelf, who was not involved in the latest discovery but holds a doctorate in Egyptology, noted that there are Book of the Dead papyri that measure more than 30 meters long. The second papyrus. This appears to be the second papyrus containing texts from the Book of the Dead to be found at Saqqara in the past year. In 2022, a 4-meter-long fragmentary papyrus containing texts from the Book of the Dead was found at Saqqara in a burial pit near the pyramid of Pharaoh Teti, who ruled from about 2323 BC to 2291 BC. It had the name of its owner written on it, a man named Pukhof. Despite being buried next to Pharaoh Teti's pyramid, Pukhof lived centuries after the ruler. The burial pits in which this papyrus was found date to the 18th and 19th dynasties of Egypt, 1550 BC to 1186 BC. However, the practice of being buried next to the pyramid of a former ruler was popular in Egypt at the time. The discovery was made by a team of Egyptian archaeologists from the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, who have yet to release images of the ancient document. According to the statement, the papyrus will soon be displayed in an Egyptian museum. The story of Nebumen. In the unknown depths of the Theban necropolis, where the past intertwines with mystery, was the tomb of Nebumen, a pharaoh's scribe, whose name had been forgotten for centuries. Nebumen's tomb was a special place, for it hid an ancient secret, a fragment of the Book of the Dead with unusual powers. The story begins on a warm summer night when Layla, a young Egyptian archaeologist, discovers this hidden tomb. She was fascinated by the myths and legends of ancient Egypt, and discovering such a place was her dream come true. Inside the tomb, the walls were decorated with ancient hieroglyphs and painted scenes that recounted Nebuchadnezzar's journey to the afterlife. In the center of the burial chamber, Layla found an ancient papyrus with the text still visible. It was a fragment of the Book of the Dead, but with something unusual. Some of the spells seemed to be unfamiliar, unlike anything else seen in such texts before. Without realizing it, Layla recited a few lines in a whisper, and the surrounding air began to vibrate strangely. A faint light filled the room, and the ancient spirits seemed to awaken from their eternal slumber. Layla felt an unknown power envelop her, and before her eyes, the painted scenes came to life. Nebuchadnezzar himself appeared before her, not as a spirit, but as a projection of his past. Nebuchadnezzar spoke to him, his voice an echo from the past. "You have awakened the hidden power of this text. I will guide you on a journey of knowledge, but you must keep your heart pure and your mind open." Layla, though scared, felt a burning curiosity. Nebuchadnezzar led her through the painted scenes, telling her about his life and death, the gods and goddesses of Egypt, and the soul's journey after death. Each scene was a window in time, opening his eyes to ancient wisdom. As the night deepens, Layla learns a lot about life in ancient Egypt, the power of faith, and the connection between life and death. At dawn, Nebuchadnezzar disappeared as suddenly as he had appeared, leaving Layla with a sense of wonder and a deeper understanding of the ancient world. She keeps the fragment of papyrus as a memento of that magical night, promising herself to continue to explore and understand the mysteries of ancient Egypt. That fragment of the Book of the Dead was not only a relic of the past, but also a key to the wisdom and mystery of a vanished civilization.